January 9th, SS Beria, first class cabin passageway. I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I wish we managed to find some clue as to what that speckled band might be. We didn't manage to investigate at all. And I imagine that we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door. He's clearly glaring at us, as if to say, don't even think about it. Oh, wait a minute. What is it? Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go? Oh yes, he's completely disappeared. When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring these were securely back on my wrists. Interesting. Okay. You there. I really wish we had had a chance to look around in Miss Pavlova's cabin.
What? Why you look like that? You want something? Maybe you want me to throw you out again,
Oh, no, definitely not that.
Next time I have to throw you out, I show you where lobsters spend winter. Understand?
Understand. Maybe I should steer clear of him until he's forgotten my face. I don't think he'll ever forget your face, Naruhodo-san. How are you reading my thoughts? That's impossible. Anything changed over here? Did he add something here? That book on top of the table there really is huge. There's a pen with it too. Yes, I'm sure that's the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Okay, so it's just the same thing, but without the comment about the big guy because he's over here. Alright. Let's go back to Kazuma's cabin. Let's see if there's been any changes. Maybe we'll find our detective friend here. Who knows? Looks like they're still investigating in here. Yes, on that subject, I wonder if Inspector Hosonaga is unscathed. What do you mean, unscathed? Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhodo-san? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to Captain about it. He said he'd lay his life on the line for you. Oh, yeah. But I'm sure he was exaggerating. Let's see what he has to say for himself. He might have some new information for us. You never know. Well, where is he? That's not him, is it?
You! Where did you go?
Oh, sorry, I just went to the next door cab.
Why? Who gave you permission for this?
Well, Seaman Hosonaga did.
That new Japanese, was it? Later I will roll him into ball and throw him in cold room.
Phew, he's gone back to guarding the door. I hope Inspector Hosonaga doesn't find himself in too much trouble on our account.
He's really gone out of his way to help us, hasn't he?
When we get back to Japan, we'll have to take him for a steak at La Carnival. That could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo-san. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Hopefully sooner than later. Hopefully. Well, so did anything change? All the books provided for passengers occupying this cabin, neatly arranged on the shelf. They were all over the place when we first looked around, if you remember. Oh yeah, and you tidied them up, didn't you? You have to look after the ship's property. Unruly behavior in the cabins leads to damage. But it really wasn't me who knocked them over. Well, anyway, I feel much better now that they're neatly lined up. I can't relax when things are untidy. Okay. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Borea. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. So by bringing her pet on board, Miss Pavlova has broken the rules. She called it her friend, didn't she? Yeah, although we don't know what form this friend takes as yet. I am almost certain that whatever it is, it's inside the traveling case in her cabin. A friend. There's more to this than it seems, I think. Alright, so here's what I'm thinking. Oh. Hold on. So it's clear that these letters were written with the ink that was somehow spilt on the floor. And they spell the Russian word for wardrobe. It does seem to be an unambiguous pointer to you, Naruhodo-san, as you were sleeping in there. But to be truly unambiguous, it should have just spelled out my name, don't you think? Well, either way, one fact remains. It's hard to imagine that Kazuma-sama would have written his last words or word in Russian, which begs the question of who did write it. Well, we have a Russian revolutionary that we haven't seen, and we have a Russian ballerina next door acting very suspicious. So there you go. This is where Kazuma spent his final moments writing his diary. 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Looking at his writing here on this page, it's almost impossible to believe that he's gone. Kazuma-sama left us a valuable clue in these words, I am sure of it. We have to solve this mystery, Naruhodo-san. We will. Oh, there he is. Okay. Oh. Hi. You're back. Inspector. What happened to you? Your face is...
Please don't worry about it. They're just scratches.
Made by a bear, maybe.
When I told the captain that I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fists and then toss me overboard.
What?
But the pummeling was over in the flesh, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing, really.
It looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if he had to. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little about the neighboring cabin.
Yes, so I understand.
Oh?
I bumped into a man claiming to be great detective little while ago. I think his name was something like Herr Sholmes. I don't think he was German, though.
Ah, that explains it. Shall we compare notes then? We can tell you what we found out.
Yes, let's do it.
Sure.
What? Nikolina Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door.
Oh, do you know who she is?
Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel?
Oh, I think I upset him there.
Well, that tells us neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case at least.
Oh, how so?
Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they?
Oh, now I've definitely upset him. Inspector, has your investigation in here proved fruitful?
If I'm honest, there's very little more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed, ready to hand over to the Hong Kong police. So I am just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job.
Oh, I see.
There is one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you.
Oh, what is it? Yes, do tell us, Inspector, please. What is this new information you have, Inspector?
It's this. The Bury's medical officer has finished his examination of the body. I managed to obtain the report.
Oh, Kazuma's post-mortem report. Kazuma-sama. So, what was the cause of death?
Damage to the cervical vertebrae is what's written in the report.
His neck was broken?
Yes, it would seem so. There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injury. So at first I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all.
Wow, what weapon was used then?
Nothing has been found as yet, but the fact that there are no signs of wound suggests it may have been a blunt object, something that wouldn't leave a mark.
Oh, I see. All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. A strong enough impact to the neck could induce death. It is a possibility, and no obvious wound would be left. Poor Kazuma.
I have a second copy of report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it.
Really? Are you sure?
Yes, it's fine. I trust you. After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I?
Oh. Alright. Oh. We can just talk to him? We can't present things to him? Time of death sometime between 1 a.m. and a little past 2 a.m. Broken neck. Strong blow to the area. Okay. Alright. Excuse me. Oh, Mr. Sholmes was here, was he?
Yes, he seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about on the floor investigating. But then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored.
Did he say anything at all?
Actually, now you mention it, yes. Just one thing, but he practically shouted it. "It's shoe polish," was all he said.
Shoe polish. I wonder what he meant.
It was when he was over there, by the piece of broken glass, do you see?
Ah, perhaps he was talking about this brick-colored mark, do you think?
Ah, yes, that must be it.
But how could Mr. Sholmes know that it's shoe polish? Did he lick the floor or something?
That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea.
What is this, Susaru-san? Well, Kazuma-sama was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan hue. Dark tan? A sort of dark brownish red, then? Yes, a little like the color of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him. Oh, does this mean that this mark was made by the polish on Kazuma's shoes as they scuffed on the floor? Interesting. Alright, so
that's really all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. My fellow crewmen's eyes are boring into the back of my head.
Yeah, that might be for the best. Thank you. Poor Inspector, you look exhausted.
Oh, no. Well, I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi-san. He was my responsibility.
Oh.
Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You were his friends. The truth is, I seem to have had a heavy head ever since I woke this morning.
A heavy head? That's interesting. My head is still throbbing too. Like anything. Alright, it's very interesting. Nothing more to say. Alright, so anyway, what I was trying to say before, this is what I'm thinking. This vent leads to the other room, so if we can somehow climb on top of there, open it up, we can gain access to the other room without having to go through the Russian guard. So let's do it. So this ventilator joins to Miss Pavlova's cabin. Yes, that's right. And just a few minutes before he died, Kazuma saw something emerging from it. The speckled band, as he described it. If only Miss Pavlova had been able to shed some light on it, but she seemed as baffled as we are. Yeah, I wonder if she's telling us everything, though. I am not so sure. I know most people aboard would say the same about me, but there was something about that woman that didn't sit right with me. Oh, come on, really? So... Alright, maybe, okay. Maybe if we go outside now, we'll run into the detective, maybe? Oh! Let's look at this again. It really is such a beautiful color, this glass. It looks like whatever it was... It looks like whatever it was has broken clean in two. But the other half is nowhere to be seen. And then there's the brick-colored mark, which is shoe polish, according to that great detective you seem to all know about. I suppose it must be from Kazuma-sama's shoes. Maybe, but what I'd like to know is, how can the detective be so sure that it's shoe polish and not something else? Because he liked it.
Because he's a great detective, of course.
That's hardly a reason, is it? Okay, we've looked at everything here. The table. The katana. Stuff. Alright. There's no one to talk to here, so let's go outside. And maybe there's something that has changed here. Hopefully. January 9th, SS Buria First Class Cabin Passageway.
Look, Naruhodo-san. Seaman Strongnov has gone.
Strong enough?
The bally Russian sailor is always crossing his arms and glaring at us.
Oh, all these Russian names are impossible to remember.
He could be inside,
doing something strange.
Tra-la-la.
Did you hear that? It sounded like someone singing.
Tra-la-la-lira-lira-lay, I did it the great detective way.
This caroling, I know that like a voice.
Well, never mind that now. This is a golden opportunity for us.
Yes, you're right. We must seize it. Let's get inside the Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can and investigate.
Definitely. Before that stringy knot crewman comes back.
It's Stronganov, not Stringinot.
Whatever. They all look the same. They all sound the same. Who cares? Wait, so who's making that sound? Oh, that's him.
Oh, it's Mrs. Sholmes. Look.
Wow, you never know where he's going to turn up next, do you?
He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself.
Tra-la-la-lira-lira-lay, I did it the great detective way.
He's still singing. Do you think he hasn't noticed us?
Or he's simply in extremely high spirits.
Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when the odd bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, it's lucky her luck was about.
Excuse me.
I solved it all, and I stood tall. I did it the great detective way.
Mr. Sholmes.
Ah! What is it? You want to fight,
Honestly, interrupting a fella when he's singing, and I was just about to reach the climactic finish. Sorry, I thought you were never gonna stop, so I figured now is as good a time as any. I very nearly dropped you to the floor with one of my famous right hooks. Alright, I get the picture. Now could you put those fists away?
Sure.
Mrs. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you.
Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in study of the ship's log, as penned by the stockily-built crewman who was usually on guard here.
Oh yes, the ship's log.
And did you find out anything useful from it?
Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank.
Which means that there was nothing to report. Nothing of note happened, so... You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Sorry? Your logic, my boy, is inverted.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
Observe the other pages, and all shall become clear. It would seem the same crewman oft stands sentry in this first-class passageway, and he has an almost religious practice of recording nothing to report every half hour. Oh, he writes that in every 30 minutes?
Nothing to report.
Precisely. Put simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there is just that. And yet,
the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report. Do you mean...
Yes, there were circumstances afoot last night, which led to the seaman being absent from his post.
What kind of circumstances? What happened?
That remains a mystery for now, but we can be sure something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribing nothing to report in the log. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must lock the ship's log in your mental file.
Sure, why not? Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective.
Ah, you're starting to understand what my way is, I see. What makes Sholmes Sholmes? Brilliant. Oh. Ouch.
You alright? What is it?
Ow. Don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason. Nothing more. Well, my friends, until our next encounter.
He's still singing to himself. I can hear it as he wanders off down the passageway.
La 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 la. I did it my way.
Is something wrong, Susato-san? You seem lost in thought. It's just, well, I feel the same.
Sorry?
Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. A sort of continuous throbbing.
Oh, you too?
What could that mean? I wonder what that means. It must be some sort of... Maybe it's some sort of gas they're pumping through the ventilators. It's keeping us all in a strange state. I don't know. We'll just keep investigating and see what we find out. Alright. This time, hopefully, there won't be any interruptions. Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Susato-san. Oh, where's she gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are her private things. There's not a moment to waste, Naruhodo-san. We must investigate as quickly as we can. I suppose you're right. For Kazuma's sake. Well, not just for Kazama-sama. What do you mean? It can't be long now until we arrive at port in Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there.
Really?
We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san. by ourselves if we have to. Yes, we will. Let's do it. Naruhodo-san, are you there? Sorry? I'm right here, yes. Why? Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking. There's no place like home. Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know. Well, anyway, I am not so sure anyone could fit inside this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes. I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in there, but no such luck. I'll keep looking for that sucker. I'm sure he'll manage to pop out. There's one of these next to the bed in Kazuma's cabin too. Yes, it's a bell cord. I can't resist. She barely hesitated there. She gave it a good tug too. No, I didn't actually expect anyone to come. We don't want them to. We're trying to investigate in secret. God's sake. So, this ventilator connects to Kazuma's cabin next door. Yes, although what a fool shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator into another room. Ah, maybe. It's so that if there's a gas leak next door, the occupant of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm. Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning? That is a possibility. Anyway, last night, Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band coming out of this ventilator. Yeah, so... This cabin door has the same simple sort of bolted latch that our cabin door has. If the bolt's drawn across, there's no way anybody could enter the cabin from outside. Yes, it's not a particularly heavy-duty bolt, is it? But still, it wouldn't slide across of its own accord, would it? No, and the door is made of metal, so there's no chance of trickery using magnets to unbolt it from the outside. And it seals up perfectly too, to stop any seawater coming in. So you couldn't use the method you told me of passing a thread across a crack around the closed door either. I seem to know a lot of tricks for opening doors. I'm starting to see why they suspect me. Well, you know, it's kind of my job, you know. Ah yes, they're displayed in this cabin too, look. The SS Buria's Rules of Passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. I suppose Miss Pavlova realized that she needed to keep the contents of her case a secret after she read this. Her special friend, I mean. I wonder where her friend has disappeared to now. It's probably having fun exploring the ship, I imagine. I just hope a seaman Stroganov doesn't find it and throw it overboard. Oh yeah, so do I. All the books have toppled over together. Look, every single one. Do you think that's a god of the sea, perhaps? He's toppled too, though. It's exactly the same as the bookcase next door. In Kazuma's cabin. Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet pose and fell against the bookcase? I don't know. Would she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away from her ballet company? Alright then. It must have been you. You lost your temper and knocked them all over in a fit of rage. Not everything bad that happens on this ship is because of me, you know. Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight in here too. I don't like seeing them in disarray. There we go. Well done. Oh my! Miss Pavlova's case is open! It's completely empty inside. But according to the great detective's great deduction, she was hiding her special friend in there. Yes, a friend that she had to keep secret. Because you're not allowed to bring animals aboard the SS Buria. I wonder what kind of animal she had in there. And more to the point, where is it now? Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Oh, what's that? Where?
Shut down the engines immediately. Vessels right at a quarter mile 4. Full stop. Out to starboard. All hands brace for impact.
Uh-oh. What the? I think we're about to crash into another ship. What? I can't stand. Susaru-san, hold on to me. Ow! Susaru-san, are you alright? Are you injured at all? I think I am fine. Thank you, Naruhodo-san. Looks like we avoided a collision. I think, yes, the ship has come to stop. Oh my goodness! What about you, Naruhodo-san? Are you hurt? No, I'm fine. Oh.
Hello? Is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance.
Oh, that sounds like... Oh. Inspector Hosonaga.
Is that you in there, Naruhodo-san? Unbolt the door, quickly.
What? The bolt? Hey, we didn't lock it. Look at that. The door is bolted. Did you do that, Susaru-san? No, I didn't touch it. Well, that's strange. How did... And look at all the books. They're just like they were before again. Naruhodo-san, aren't you going to open the door and let the inspector in? Oh, yeah. I'd better tidy this place up first. Why not? Let him wait. Our violent emergency stop has solved one mystery at least, in a very vivid way. But I knew that what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around, tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. To be continued. January 9th, SS Buria, Miss Pavlova's cabin. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susaru-san took a deep breath and then gently slid back the bolt. Uh-oh.
You, what are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Hey, you both look unhurt. Good.
Yeah, we're fine. Thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we were gonna collide with another ship.
Yes, it appears there have been a false report, though.
Oh, how did that happen?
There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crew are running everywhere. This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment.
Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm. Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? Ah, you wicked intruder, dressed all in black. You are the devil. Sorry? Me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case. How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector... Inspector...
Yes?
Arrest this man. I know he did it. He is a criminal. Is it not enough that he has killed a man?
Duh! And he's a stowaway as well! If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe?
Take him away. He is a trespasser as well as everything else.
Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right. You are devil.
It doesn't look good, does it?
There is cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we talk in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police.
Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hazunaga, is there nothing you can do?
This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options.
This is terrible. This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately. Oh. So they're just gonna... Okay. They'll let me stay for a little bit until I can figure out what to do. Alright, so after 1:30 a.m. Old Strong Enough saw something that made him stop his scheduled routine update things. No entries from 2 a.m. until early this morning. Yeah. Marks on the floor. Sure. Okay. Excuse me, lady. Look, we didn't take anything. I swear. Miss Pavlova, can I get out? Listen, I'm sorry that we snuck in here without your permission, but get out now. We just need to investigate in here to help understand what Oh, it's no use. She's not gonna listen. I need to find someone who will. Oh. Well, I'll probably go talk to the inspector then. What about this? I just need to keep calm and focus on the task at hand, which is investigating. Don't touch my things. Oh.
You want me to show you where crawfish hibernates?
Hiya! What? Me? Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think you're doing? Wow, everyone's attacking me, and I was just starting to think she was my friend. Alright, fine. I'm not gonna touch anything, I'm not gonna talk to anyone. Hazunaga, come on, man. Help me out here, help a brother out.
You've got yourself into a difficult situation here. By entering this cabin uninvited, I mean.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was just so desperate to find a clue.
I'm afraid there's really nothing more I can do to help you. If I push my luck any further, a punch to the face will be the least of my worries.
I'm really sorry.
I have to take responsibility for giving you the freedom to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin. Now this has happened, I'll have to report to the captain at once.
I really need some help here. I need a hero to rescue me from this crisis. Who? The detective? Can I move? Oh, I can leave. I don't... Are they gonna let me leave? What? What the? What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes? Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective it is my business to know what other people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then?
Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally.
I wish to determine if it would bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not.
Ah, you again. The great detective.
Ah, Inspector, I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently.
Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on wall next time. What is the report? Speak!
An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes, the case of the curious murder that took place last night, here on this vessel, the steamship Ballerina, has been solved. By me, naturally. What? Really? Yes, I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case.
Ha! You have solved it! Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all knew who was responsible for killing Student Boy this morning when we found criminal in wardrobe. It is the stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it.
I didn't do it.
The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because, as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from inside. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin.
Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories.
Da! Locked room! That is point!
The room was locked. Oh, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin. You are all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. What? Oh yes, there is another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door.
What other entrance? We never discovered one.
Why, it gaps up in mouth at you even as we speak. The ventilator, man.
The ventilator? Ha 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 ha! You think this is funny? I cannot even put arm through that hole.
That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks.
You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening? It is not possible.
Ah, but it is. And last night the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Mrs. Sholmes, do you mean Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Precisely, my dear madam.
But what does it mean? What is this speckled band?
The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Who? Mr. Sholmes? What are you doing? There is a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I am about to expose for you, all to see, will shock you to your cause. Ha! Behold! Whoa, what the? Oh. Allow me to introduce you all to the band, the Speckled Band. A snake? Indubitably. So, Mr. Sholmes, just one thing. Pray, what troubles you? Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it the striped band, wouldn't you? You both see and observe with distinction, however. Do you not think that this is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall? Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap? How exactly? I think perhaps it is time I explained the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova? I am sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing is nothing to do with me. There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one. Last night your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. Oh. And number two. That same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life. No. She's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head.
This young woman's friend killed Mr. Osogi?
Looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Oh, God. Here we go again.
The game is afoot.
Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death is nothing to do with me. This whole thing is nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain.
And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary, even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloughed skin. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin, no? I don't know what you're talking about. Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as a bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it sloughs its skin. A snake so dreadful, we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. I rest my case. Oh, there's still more. Well, that's obvious. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. No. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost, but not quite, imperceptible puncture wound left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snakebite delivered by your terrifying friend. This makes no sense. There's no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically periodically. There we go. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt. You don't... It is telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend. To train? Indeed, you'd put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you'd summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you'd release the snake once more. Do you deny this snake has undergone such training? It's not true. Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once, and its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young man's life. There can be no doubt, my logic is infallible. Yeah, about that. I don't think that's it, but that's alright. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes's great deduction of the speckled band. Well, that's Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor you will observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible. You've solved the mystery.
Amazing. Your great detection really lives up to its name. I see now why Sherlock Holmes has become such a household name.
My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes? No, you may not. Oh, fine. What's on your mind? It's just, about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me. I welcome questions as to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly. Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family.
You are well informed, madam.
And reptiles, don't drink milk.
Ah.
It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I am not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward.
No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds.
Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears.
Ah.
Yes, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal a snake by whistling.
But madam, what of the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute?
I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements.
Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears. These creatures are so inept
as to be practically useless. Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes.
There is one other thing.
You have more?
Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I am not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in these cabins.
Then it should try harder.
Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I am trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this. I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh no, you don't mean...
Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be.
I had a feeling that was coming. Alright, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yeah,
Right. So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again.
what?
What about my...
You've done it again. Your handcuffs are gone.
Where did they go? Fear not. I shall see they're restored after our work is done. I really wish you'd leave them off. Now, everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Again. This time with help. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. I think you've got a couple of things wrong there. Let's start with the first topic. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. She does have a pained expression on her face.
Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kazama-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind.
But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression then?
Let's take a moment and really look closely, very closely, at Miss Pavlova.
It's not her aching heart, it's that.
Oh, Naruhodo-san, look! That looks like a very painful wound.
Looks like a scratch made by some kind of small animal. And fairly recently, too.
Well, whatever scratched her doesn't appear to be around here.
Yes!
Yes, when you recall those horrid events, that claw scratch smarts with pain. Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night? When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected. Another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. It seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they? No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow. Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What is the true identity of this friend of hers? We should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we will find the answer. Oh, well, there we go. You were looking over at this framed photographic print, weren't you, Miss Pavlova? But let's not be distracted by the print itself. Oh no. It's the frame that is your friend, isn't it? Because it so beautifully displays whatever you put inside it. What precisely was your intention with that, Mr. Naruhodo? Just following the natural progression of the deduction. Sometimes the truth hurts. Well, the truth is, you do not have a turn for observation or deduction. Did that hurt? Yes, a lot. I wasn't talking about the frame, I was talking about the cat in the frame. A friend, that same friend is probably responsible for the scratch on the back of her hand. We also know that whatever it is, this friend must be small enough to pass through the ventilator. That really ought to narrow it down. Let me scatter out again in the direction she looked. Fuck's sake. Okay. It's not the teapot. Is there something behind the semen? No. Okay. It's not gonna be the teapot, obviously. Look, there's a thing, and there's a cat. Man. There we go. Oh, look at the photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away. She is exceptionally beautiful, isn't she? Yeah, that's true. But personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe we'd better take a closer look at this. There we go. Fucking dickhead. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's go with it. Here we go. Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, that scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear. Oh no. The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Oh! Blit! Turkey is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind. Darker would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloughed skin. Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. If she just left it in her pocket, no one would ever have known. Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Sholmes' specialty. He's ever so cleverly forced her
to reveal something.
I thought deduction was his specialty.
Or maybe making me believe that was a ploy too. Anyway, I find it hard to believe that that's the skin of a snake.
In which case,
Just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back?
well, let's take a look. It's not a skin. It's a knife. She took the knife from the room. Well, it is speckled and it is a band, but what is it?
It seems to be soft and fluffy, a long piece of cloth of some sort. And that looks like a handle on one end. I think it may be a cat's toy. This sort is common in the West, apparently.
How is that a toy for cats?
Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them and they pounce to catch it.
It sounds positively adorable. Oh, okay. I guess that really did look like the handle of the knife, but I guess not.
Yes.
There we go. Yes, the thing you are trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy. Precisely, and the true nature of the now infamous speckled band. Bah! And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it.
But why? For what reason?
My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return.
Ah.
In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of a cat by the name of Daka. Kjarg. A truly troublesome feline young Daka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing that photograph of yours, of your pet, Miss Pavlova.
Sure, why not?
It was after I gave her her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bill cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Daka, she's so naughty.
Alright. We solved that one. On to the next one.
Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom.
What Mr. Sholmes says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-sama's body.
That's right, but Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one very important detail.
Kazuma wasn't poisoned. Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now.
The report?
Yes.
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah yes, I knew it was one or the other. His neck was... Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seeming strong enough isn't some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something. Or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though. Presumably Darka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow. I suppose it's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident. Oh, yeah, a bad fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-san, though. He wasn't a clumsy man. Oh, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened? Oh. He slipped?
Yes!
Really? Oh no, Kazuma-san. Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? Indeed. Positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped. Please, no. And by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life. No! Niet. I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that that's what happened. But, and if this is part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes. Where, I wonder? Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. It's not the case. Could it be... Really? Something in the... This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them. But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet. Oh, what's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yeah, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you. Alright, let's do it.
Yes!
That's right, you hit the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket. Ah! Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a similar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no. So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't know, in that hushed Russian accent of yours. Won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be the picture that we just found?
Yes!
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, the very glass bell in question. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble? Your absent feline friend, Darka. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. Got her. Yeah. Yeah, I fucking got you. I fucking got you, bitch. Yeah. Some good deducting right there. Oh.